right. You're welcome to Governance Insight. I'm glad to have you again. I'm Coach Raphael. As a global Christian community, we're celebrating Easter, the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. It is all doom and gloom in some parts of north central Nigeria, especially in Plateau and Benue states, where gunmen believed to be members of Fulani herders stormed the community, killing dozens of people. According to reports, the last Monday Plateau attack, uh, came shortly after midnight. And of course, it was so terrible. So terrible. And so, what is the cause of this attack? Some say it could be ethnic tensions, communal clashes, some attribute it to religion, and some say no, it is indigenous settler conflict. But what is the real matter here? Of course, you are going to have, an insider perspective. I have someone with me here, in the person of Ibrahim Umar Wase, DDM Public Affairs Analyst. Ibrahim, you are welcome to this program.
Thank you for having me.
All right. What are your thoughts on Plateau killings?
As you rightly said, it is horrific, it is barbaric, it is savagery of the highest order, and it should be condemned by any sane human being. That's my take on it. And the government should bring the perpetrators to book. There's no room for terrorism and no sympathy for any terrorists.
Okay, now let me tell viewers that I talked about an insider perspective. So you are from Wase local government area of Plateau State. So, and you told me earlier that you have spent more than 16 years in Plateau State. So you must have had first-hand experiences of attacks, the person killing or wounding the others. So, but first of all, what do you think were the motivations of the attackers?
All right. First and foremost, I would like to address this type of question because this type of question is more or less pointing fingers, or maybe I would say personally, I feel pigeonholed. If someone would just ask you about something, more or less is giving the impression to others that you have an idea about what happened, while you haven't. So the idea of the motive of a particular group of people carrying an attack should be directed to those who carried the attack. I have this kind of belief that stereotype comes in different forms. There are stereotypes that are directed through an institution like the media, and it comes in a very constructive way that people will hardly see it, but it sends the signal. If you bring a person, for example, a Christian here, and a Christian did something, and you ask him what's the motive, it send a negative signal to the people that maybe he is part of what happened. So I am trying to correct you. The next time is, I think, we delve into the nitty gritty, the thing that causes and sparks the crisis rather than the motive, because I'm not in a WhatsApp group with the terrorists, so why should I know?
Okay, now let me give you, by all accounts, what people are saying, especially members of the community that was attacked. Irigwe ethnic group, Irigwe Youth Movement, is a local youth organization in Basel local government area of the Plateau State. They are saying that Fulani herders were responsible for this attack. And Fulani menace is not only is exclusive to North. It is a problem in Nigeria across all states in Nigeria. So, do you believe that Fulani herders, launched this attack? First of all, yes or no?
No, they believe whether I believe they are the one who launched the attack or who. I am not here to be calling names. As a matter of fact, I don't know because I
But
wasn't there,
but
and there is no any reports
mm,
indicating that these are the group of people that claim responsibility for it.
But those, I just mentioned that members of the community.
Yeah, members
Because
of the community, litigation is a very
Mm.
complex thing to do. As a person who is neither from any side, it will be very hard for me, or it will be unfair for me to accept what one side said, except if there is a backed um, reason behind it. For example, if security authorities said that these are the group of people that carried the attack, then it is very, very easy for me because I wasn't there. But for me now to just jump into conclusion using speculation, auto suggestion, I think is wrong. So I rather just stick by the people who carried out that terrorist act. They are definitely maybe Nigerian citizens, but I don't know if there's any official statement from the security law enforcement agents. Then definitely we'll start delving into it. I'm not a law enforcement agent, so don't ask me this type of question.
Okay, you have lived in Plateau State for years. Tell me about your experiences there. Why do you think this conflict? What is the context, the foundation,
All
the
right.
historical context in which it is arising? So tell us about it.
All right. And I did not only live in Plateau State. Plateau State is my home. My father was born there, and my grandfather was born there. That's our home. So I know Plateau State because I'm not a Hausa man. I'm neither a Hausa man nor a Fulani man. I am a Plateau man. My tribe, Jar, are the founders of Jos City. The name Jos is driven from our own dialect. So definitely I am true a Plateau boy. So the reason behind Plateau State crisis or this pact was multifaceted. It's long-standing and a very complex issue to understand. And most of the time, crisis and violence started as a simple spark, and it escalated to a very complex issue to understand. It's all began in September 2001, and I think we had a lot of commentators bringing their own belief what causes the crisis. But according to my own humble experience and knowledge, I can infer that there are two key incidences that spark the Plateau crisis of September 2001. What are those incidences? Number one, it was at that period that global geopolitics was happening, and the tension was high between United States of America and Al Qaeda in Afghanistan. And it was that very moment, September 11, if you can remember, that Al Qaeda carried out their attack on World Trade Center. September 11, the famous September 11 attack.
9/11.
Yes, 9/11. And again, at the same vein, it was that same period that some states in northern part of Nigeria introduced Sharia law, which is the Islamic law in the system. So these two incidences contributed to the rise of tension between the Christians and the Muslims in Plateau State. Nigerians are very good in generalization. There were reports at the time that after the September 11 attack, some communities put roadblock, killing people because they believe they were parts of what happened. And that's why I usually said that generalization is very, very dangerous. And you can't understand how dangerous it is until you happen to be a victim of generalization. When someone will just look at you in the face because of your ethnicity and religion and feel that you doesn't even have the right to breathe the air you are breathing. So that's when you will understand that generalization is the most evil of acts to do. That's why it irritates me to my bone when I see someone trying to generalize a particular group of people, because it's justifying anything on them. So after that incident, a lot of attack and counter-attack happened in Plateau State. But the one that stands out from that 2001 up till 2004, which was the first phase of Plateau crisis, the one that stood out among them all was the incident that happened in a remote community in Shandam local government in southern part of Plateau State on the 2nd and 3rd of May 2004. It was a massacre at the time because that was the incident that triggered the declaration of state of emergency in Plateau State on the 18th of May 2004 by the government of Olusegun Obasanjo. It was carried out at the time, and a week after a, should I say, reprisal attack happened far away from Plateau State in Kano State, whereby the people of Kano State attacked the Christian community, because that Yelwen Shandam was a Muslim community in Shandam local government. And even the reports at the time, we the locals, we believe that more than 1,000 people were killed. But even the report showed that 700 people were killed and more than 1,000 people were abducted at the time. And you know,
Were they Muslims?
yeah,
Most of
definitely,
them.
definitely.
So who attacked them? What group?
No, I told you earlier on, I don't like
Okay, you don't have an
generalization.
idea.
No, it is not that I don't have an idea. I
Okay.
don't like generalization. The idea here is that anybody that carries crime should bear the consequences of his crime rather than just stereotyping a particular group of people and say they are the ones who did. Although at the time there was tension between the Christian and Muslim population of Plateau State, it's quite understandable that the tension was high at the time. So after that incident, although the crisis before that 2004, it started earlier in Jos. That was that September, and inside the Jos city, more than 1,000 people were killed at the time. So from 2001 and 2004, in a nutshell, is the first phase of Plateau crisis. Then fast forward 2008, the second phase of Plateau crisis, and that was clearly political, because at the time it was local government election, and there is that narrative in Plateau State that there are citizens, indigents, and there are settlers. So who are the indigents? We, the indigenous tribe, a lot of tribes in Plateau State, we call ourselves indigents. And the settlers, they are those who are not part of the indigenous population. For example, the Hausas, the Fulanis. But they are indigenous Fulanis in Plateau State. But the Hausas, the Igbos, the Yorubas that are settling in Jos City, for example, they are being referred to as settlers. So because of that tension between them, and the tension rises from political and economic privileges. Who is going to get what? So because of that, and even on that, it's very hard to just say it is being justified. I am part of the indigent, but the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria doesn't should I say, implicitly or explicitly spell out who is an indigent. In Nigeria, any territory, according to the constitution, where you have found yourself, because I can remember, I'm not a legal practitioner, but I know that citizen by birth in Nigeria is spelled out as someone whose parent or grandparent were born in a certain area. So definitely, most of the people we call settlers, even their grandparents, were born on that territory. So it is clearly that they were not part of the tribes we consider as indigent. So we feel that there are some certain privileges that they are not supposed to have in the states.
Okay.
So what causes the 2008 crisis was solidly for that reason, when we, the indigenes, started feeling that no, Jos City, which is the heart of Jos, is supposed to be governed by the indigenes, not by settlers. And in contrast, the Jos City is predominantly occupied by the Hausa people. So definitely going by the democratic principle, majority rule, they will definitely emerge victorious if we're going to follow any democratic principle. And at the time, some people believed that the governor was in support that a settler should not be the chairman of just not local government. And it is clear if there is any vote, the majority will definitely take it, right? So the majority took that vote, they won, and the governor decided not to allow the democracy prevail at that point in time, and it raises tension again that triggered the 2008 crisis, and thousands of people died at the time. Then again, we have the third wave, not necessarily the third wave because from that 2008 up till 2011, there was a lot of attacks, lot of crises in Jos, within the Jos metropolis and outside the city of Jos. So I was raised in Wase local government, and I knew Wase local government is in southern part of Plateau State. In southern part of Plateau State, the first phase, that was the 2001 to 2004 crisis, was mostly in the southern part of Plateau State. My own community experienced more than at least 30 attacks outside, not from within. At the period,
The attackers were outsiders.
Yes, definitely they were outsiders. So they came and attacked, and the locals protect themselves. There were a lot of villages that was burned down at the time. I was young actually. 2001, I was really young. But I think I can remember some things that happened at the time. Then 2011, the crisis of 2011, at the time there was tension. I told you that from 2008 up to 2011, there was high level of tension in Plateau State. Then in 2011, there was that differences between the Islamic followers in celebrating Salah, the Eid al-Fitr, that's the celebration after the 30 months, 1 month of fasting. So one sect called Izala, their headquarters is even in Jos. Their headquarters is in Jos. They celebrate their Salah different from other sects. So at that moment, the governor warned their leader that he shouldn't carry his own followers to quote unquote a slaughterhouse, because at the time there was tension, and the location where they celebrate their Eid, that's the Salah, was in a place we call Rukuba. And Rukuba is a Christian area in Jos. And if there is tension, everyone knows his own place. You get? So don't carry your own people there. But he failed to adhere and hit the warnings, and he carried his people anyway. So there was massacre also 2011. A lot of people from that place were killed, and it triggers another crisis from within and outside Jos metropolis. Then the third phase, 2014, came mostly 2012 to 2014, mostly from southern part of Plateau State. That's my own place again. Wasi, Kanam, Shandam local government, Kompan, Nitang, Lantang. These are where the, not just in that case, just were relatively experiencing some level of peace at the time. So after that, I think there is no open crisis like that, but there are attacks and counter-attacks.
All right. You have given an incisive historical experience. But let me, because of time,
Yes.
I'll ask two more questions. The first question I will ask you definitely: do you believe Is there any other tribe that controls cows and cattle?
In Plateau State?
No, anywhere in Nigeria.
Definitely, Fulani people are the headers mostly in Nigeria. Although they are
mostly, or all of them, all the headers in Nigeria.
no, not
Oh, okay,
all.
yes, not all. Yes,
Not all,
I've seen some Igbos,
but
but
most.
mostly Fulani headers.
Yes, yes.
Now, do you believe that the headsmen, Fulani headsmen, because you say that you don't like generalizations,
Yes.
but you know that when members of a particular group, every group has a name, it's
Sure.
identified with the particular name.
Sure.
When members of that group commit,
Carried out, yeah.
carry attack or heinous crimes,
Yeah.
for example, Fulani, and the reporters or journalists or anyone is talking about it, and the person identifies it this way, Fulani headers has launched an attack. Do you find anything wrong with that?
No, I don't find anything wrong with that.
Okay, do you believe that Fulani headsman is a menace or a threat to the whole country currently? Headsman. Not the Fulani tribe as a whole.
Yeah.
Because the Fulani headers. Do you believe that they have?
No, I don't believe. I don't believe that they are menace to the country.
Could you briefly tell us the reason?
The reason being that I believe that they have a lot of issues with everyone across the country. I believe in that. But in every dispute, everyone has a role to play. It is not just one side perpetrating everything against the other. Although you might be the extreme one. There's a psychologist that said evil oftentimes is just fought on the idea of a general goods. That means anybody who believes that I am generally good is more likely to commit an evil. You get? So definitely there is a level upon which every side plays a role. If I fight with you today, for example, God forbid, and something happened, for example, one among us killed the other, there must be a reason that triggers that fight in the first place. And I played my role, you played your role. But everybody is going to look at the end result. This person killed another person, so definitely he's the one at the wrong side. But if you want to be fair, that's why justice sometimes is kind of, if you go to the court, you understand what I mean. It's very, very complex. In the court of law, they strictly deal with hard evidence. So I don't have any problem with you saying no if it has been approved that Fulani headers carried that attack. Definitely, I don't have any problem with that.
Good.
And I let me give you an example. I think a couple of years, was it 4 years ago? Something happened in a community close to my own village in Wase local government. My village is called Yuli in Wase local government. There is a village close to my village, just a couple of kilometers away. The same headers carried out an attack on a village, and they killed more than 100 people at the time. And the village was just close to my village. I issued a statement. At the time, I was the president of my own tribe, Jar Youth, in Wase local government. I issued a statement at the time. And I called the name because it was there's an approved body that approved that these people were the one who carried the attack. But in the case whereby I am in another location and something happened, then I will just come and say, I believe that this is so thing that happened there. This is unjust. That's what I highlighted to you.
All right. All right. Thank you. Now, briefly, what do you think the government can do to solve this problem? Because it seems that it is becoming, or let me say, it is already intractable. So, what do you think the government can do to solve the whether it is caused by religion or ethnic diversion? So, what do you think the government can do to solve the problem in Plateau State as well as elsewhere in the north?
It is simple. It's very, very simple. Number one, apprehend with the perpetrators and make sure that justice elsewhere. Because if you deal with the perpetrators, even if anyone has an incentive or a test of doing similar thing, will be deterred. Second of all, we have to go to the root cause of that problem. what is the root cause of Nigerian crisis? I honestly believe it is poverty and illiteracy. Because if you go to the city of Jos, for example, I'll give you a clear example of that. There are urban neighborhoods in Jos. For example, Rayfield, um, Federal Locals, all these areas, they are not experiencing crisis. They hear the news the same way you heard it here. They are not experiencing anything, and there are Muslims and Christians there. But when you go to the poor neighborhood, it is there that the problem is happening. And if you're going to look just outside the box, you can realize that definitely poverty plays a role. Um, and we have in Nigeria, we have more than 150 million youths. Nigeria has nearly 70% of its population from the age of 18 to 35 years. This number, I think, is more than the population of Ghana, Niger, Cameroon, Guinea Republic put together. So, in spite of the prospect that the number holds, you know, unemployment lingers in the country, and they said an idle mind is a devil workshop. So definitely everyone wants to live, and it contributes to the carnage and insecurity that is going on in the country. So if the country would decide, if the government would decisively solve these two issues, because justice has no halfway. Deal with the perpetrators, regardless of who they are. Deal with them. Justice must be served, and justice is just a product of law. Law must be enforceable, it must be evenly applicable, and it must maintain the proper equilibrium between the permanent and the peripheral. That's my belief.
Ibrahim Umar Wase, thank you for gracing this conversation. All right, that's it on Governance Insight. If you enjoy this conversation, do not hesitate to hit the like button, make your comments, share this video, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more exciting stories and topics. I'm Tochku Raphael. See you next time. Bye bye.